words and expressions. So, few vocabulary words first. Now, like I said, you don't have to write every single thing down. Like, keywords are fine, all right? You don't have to write every single thing down. So, like, expression is basically a math phrase made up of symbols and numbers, and sometimes letters. It's a phrase made up of variables, which are letters, numbers, and operations, which are also symbols. Add, subtract, multiply, divide. Made up of variables. Like, that means add, subtract, multiply, divide. And the word evaluate means to solve. Okay, so you're going to see the word evaluate in your instructions or your directions for your homework. If it says evaluate, that means you're just going to solve. I can't tell you how many times I have kids that come up to me and say, what does evaluate mean? It just means to solve. It's just a fancy word for solve. Fancy word. Okay, everybody need this yet? Can I move on? All right. One more second. Okay. All right, so this is something we talked about a short little bit last year. Way more important in 8th grade because they talk about it during this chapter and they expect you to remember it throughout the rest of the book. Okay, is order of operations, and you've heard it before. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Last year, I think we maybe did something like this. And we drew a picture. We can do that again if you would like. It's up to you. But if you can remember, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, that's a way to remember your order of operations. Now, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally tells you what to do first if you have a long problem. Okay? Parentheses are always first, exponents are always second, and the ones that are the most important and that are kind of the hardest to understand, believe it or not, are multiplying, dividing, and adding and subtracting. I'll let you write these down, then I'll do some more talking about them. Now, a lot of people think that because multiply and divide are the M becomes before the D means that's the way it has to go. That's not true. Those two things are an equal operation. Okay, so one is not more important than the other. So it doesn't matter what comes first in your thing. If it's multiply or divide multiply, you just do it in that order. So I'll show you an example of that. In a second, I have some people that are still writing. Alright, so I'm going to write out an example here. And this is show you why, not all the time your M doesn't always have to come first, or your multiply always doesn't have to come before you divide. So let's say I have this, 12 divided by 3 plus 6 times 2. So in this problem, I have 3 different things in there. I have divide, I have multiply, and I have addition. So when you see something like this, see how I have multiply and divide in there? Just becomes your multiply becomes before your division in this doesn't mean you do that first. It's you start in left and you go from left to right. Okay, so I'm going to start, I have division, so I'm going to do that first. Well, then I have 4 plus, and then I'm going to do this, 12, 16. Okay, so make sure you're just going in left to right. It doesn't matter which one comes first, like your multiply or divide. It just, you're going from left to right. Do you guys understand what I mean by that? Okay. Has anybody ever been on Facebook, or maybe they have this on Twitter or Instagram, where they post a problem like this, and there's like 500 different answers for it, like people are commenting on it, and they're like, oh, it's 12, no, it's 24, no, it's 36, because I did this and this. Has anybody ever seen anything like that on the internet before? Okay, the reason why everybody gets different answers is because they don't follow this. That's why everybody's getting different answers. They maybe did the division before the, I don't know, the exponents or whatever. Every time that people are getting it wrong, it's because they don't follow this. They don't know that. So when you see like 35 different answers, it's because people aren't following the right format of how they should do things. So let's do some practice problems of these, okay? So here's some examples. These are simple examples, okay? Very simple. They get harder. They're going to get harder as we go. So we're going to talk about this one first. I have 5 parentheses 5 plus 9. Now, according to, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, what has to be done first? Hayden. Right, parentheses. So when you do these problems, do them in steps. It'll make your life so much easier. So this is how I'm going to do it in steps. So I know this is 14. Now I'm going to rewrite what I have left. Okay? Now I can do, does anybody remember what this means? Multiply. If I don't have a sign, it means multiply. Remember, what are some other things that mean multiply? This sign, the dot, parentheses, all mean multiply. Okay, so make sure you're getting tuned with that also, because that's going to show up a lot. So now I can multiply 14 times 5. I get 2. It should be 70. That's my answer. Doing things in steps. Very important. Okay, next one. That's pretty simple one. According to that, what should I be doing first? 5 times 5, because that multiply comes and divide come before addition. So 5 times 5 is 25. Now I'm going to add that 4 in, 29. See how I'm doing things in steps? Please do them in steps. That way we can go find your mistakes if you have a mistake. And these are simple right now. Okay, so now we get a little harder here. What am I supposed to do first? Aspen. So this is what it looks like. 2 and then 10 minus 3 times 5. Now what's the next thing I probably should do? Well, now I have 2 things of what? I have multiplication, right? I have 2 multiplications and a subtraction. So let's do our multiplication first, and then we'll subtract. So 2 times 10 is 20 minus 15. You should have 5 as an answer. Okay? Asking yourself what you have to do next is a big help. What am I going to do next? What's the next step? What does please excuse my dear Aunt Sally say? Any questions on ones like this? No? Okay. One other thing I need to show you is this is the only time, when you see a problem like this is the only time please excuse my dear Aunt Sally doesn't exist. Okay? And the reason why is, what does some of these things mean here? What does that line mean, Nevaeh? It means divide. But if I look at that top and bottom, can I divide them yet? No. So this is the only time that please excuse my dear Aunt Sally is pushed to the side, because I have to figure those 2 numbers out in the top first. So let's figure this one out and this one out. Then we should be able to divide. Well, I know this bottom one's going to be 4. And what's this top one? 68. 68. Now I can do it. Divide by 4 goes in once. 28 goes in 7 times. Should be 17. Is that right? Yes. If I'm doing something wrong, or if I do something wrong, you gotta tell me. Don't like wait till I'm like 3 slides ahead and be like, I think on 3 slides ago you did something wrong. Like seriously, just tell me like as it's up here. Okay. It'll save us a lot of time. So this is the only time, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, doesn't work. Because you have to do those addition subtraction steps first. There's a lot of these in your homework today, work like this. So, any questions so far? Right? Gonna keep going. All right, let's try one like this. Now, this is a little tricky. What is something in here you've never seen before? The bars. They're called brackets. Brackets are like another thing of parentheses. They're just another set of parentheses. So, according to those brackets, what has to be done first before I do anything with the 4? Yep. Yep, I'm going to do everything in here first. Those brackets are basically like, okay, do everything in there first, and then work with that 4. So, in there, what's the first thing I have to do? Well, there's multiplication, right? So, 16, and then I'm going to do this because this is also in parentheses, so I'm supposed to do that also first. So, what is that, 4? Oh, 6. Sorry. See, thanks for telling me now, not 6 slides later. So they're all still in brackets yet, because that's what's left after I'm done with my brackets. Does everybody understand how I got those numbers? Okay. Now, in those brackets, that's the next thing I have to do. Like I said, they're another set of parentheses. They just look a little different. So 16 plus 6 would be 22. And then they're still like in brackets. And then I can take care of my 4. So at the end, I can multiply the whole thing by 4. And then it should be 88. So do you see how brackets are like another set of parentheses? You do everything inside that first, and then worry about the 4 in the end. Any questions? What's the matter, Gabe? See? Good thing. I'm happy. Try this one yourself. Try this one yourself. See if you can do it. Please follow please excuse my dear Aunt Sally first. Please make sure you do that. Otherwise, you're not going to get the right answer. Because this is kind of tricky. Can you see Lantern right there? Good. I see a lot of good answers. Sure. Good job. Anybody need another second? You should have 1 as an answer. Now, what would be something that somebody would do incorrectly on this? Can you see where somebody would go make an incorrect mistake on this? Let me tell you what somebody would do. They would do this correctly. They'd say, okay, 5, 10, minus 7 times 7. What do you think they would do incorrectly? What step? They would maybe do this. What would somebody do? They do 50 minus 7 and take it times 7. Yep. Yep, you're exactly right. So if you follow Please Excuse Me, that comes first, and then you can do your subtraction. Yeah, somebody would definitely do that, for sure. So make sure you're being careful. All right, a few other things we have to go over today, and then we're done. All right, so some words that mean these things, because they're going to make you, they're going to give you a sentence, and you have to translate it into a math sentence. Okay, so you're going to have to solve some, and then you're going to have to translate. So if I look at the word addition, what are some things that mean addition? And you might want a good list in your notebook because you're going to use this probably throughout the whole year. Some things that mean addition. Anybody got anything? What are some words that mean addition? Yeah, Aiden. Add. Okay, we're starting small. What else? What'd you have, Aspen? Total. Very good. What else you got? Jackson, you had one. Was that what you were going to say? Somebody else had their hand up over here. Maybe it's me just hallucinating. I don't know. Anybody else? Plus? Anybody else? Yeah. If you the sum of definitely. That's the answer of addition problem. Good job. A lot of times people forget it's increased. Increased. If 2 is increased by 5. Increased. Any other ones you can think of? That's more for like multiplication. Double multiply by 2. But you could use that one, yeah. Anybody else? Addition things? Okay, we'll come back to them. Subtraction. What words do you have for subtraction? Somebody I haven't heard from, because there's a lot of them out there. Yeah, Ethan. Subtract. Subtract. Gabe. Yes. Even just the word less, watch out, because if it says less, then that also means subtract. Yeah. Minus. Yeah, Aspen. Decrease. There's one other big one. It's what the answer is called to a subtraction problem. It's like the sum, the app. That's, yep, spelled out for multiplication. It starts with a D. Yeah, the difference. Yep. Different. Let's see, is there anything I'm missing? Okay, I don't think so. Multiplication. Aiden? No, you had it before. Product. Product. Multiply, I guess. Aspen. Okay, you could do multiply, or I mean, you could do double, triple, quadruple, because you know, like double you multiply by 2, triple you multiply by 3. So, double, yeah, multiply, triple. Anything else for multiply? Yeah. Times. Yeah, I think there was a few times. Times. Good. Okay, I think we'll leave it at that. Division? There's not many. Division? Got one? Divide? Yeah, you can say divide. For sure. Divide. Anybody know what the name is for the answer of a division problem? No. Quotient. Yeah, quotient. Nice job. Another thing like cut in half. Cut in half would be dividing by 2. Pretty much it. Thirds. I mean, but usually it's not. Okay. Any questions so far? So we're going to use some of these now. So, that's not the way I wanted to go. Okay, so 5 multiplied by 3. Now, they're going to give you something like this, and you got to show what it looks like in a math sentence. You don't have to solve it. You're just writing what it looks like. So that's easy. 5 multiplied by 3 looks like this. The end. The answer. That's it. Yep, they're just giving you a sentence, and you write it in the format with words and numbers and letters or whatever. So the number of apples you have, if you start with 10 and eat 2, what would that look like to solve that problem, Nevaeh? 10 minus 2. See how simple that is? Okay, and also looking for keywords. Like the keywords of that one is if you start with and end, if you start, the number of apples you have, you start with and eat 2. Eat would have been like your keyword there. The total length of songs. There are 3 songs, and each is 4 minutes long. So I want to know the total amount of time it's going to take me to listen to these songs. How can I figure that out, Gabe? 3 times 4. That's it. You don't even have to solve them. You just write this out. Okay? All right, any other ones that I'm missing here? All right. Let's go. I'm going to find one more then, just in case. Total money earned if you're selling 6 donuts and each donut is $2. How much money are you gonna earn? How you found that? By 6 times 2. Okay, that's all I need to know. I don't need to know the 12 part. All right, last thing is some story problems. And they just ask you to set up, there we go. They just ask you to set up an equation. They don't even ask you to solve it really. They just want you to set up the equation. So, a pencil costs $1 and a notebook costs 2. Write an expression for the total cost when you buy that's not even the right buy 8 pencils and 13 notebooks. How would that look? Okay, this should be the word BUY. What would the expression look like? I'm not asking for an answer. I'm just asking to start solving. Yes? 8 times 1, and 13 times 2, and this would be a plus in the middle. And you know what you can do? A lot of times they'd have you put parentheses around them just to keep them together. But yes, very good. And then you could just solve this if you need to solve it, if they ask you to do that. Sometimes they don't even ask you to do that. Let's do this one. An adult ticket to the movies is $9. A student ticket is $7. Write an expression for the total cost if 6 adults and 9 students go to the movies. What's it going to look like? Somebody, I haven't really heard of them yet today. You can just start it. I'll help you through it. Somebody help me out. Go ahead, Haley. 6. Does that look about right? Okay, so I got to make sure that a student ticket is 6 adults times 9. 9 students times 7. Yeah, and that's it. Does everybody understand how I got those numbers? This would be how many adults times how their tickets. This is the number of children times their ticket amount. Yep. And then you'd add them together. That's all there is for today. Okay, so you're going to be solving a few things using Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally, and you're going to be writing things out just like this. What questions do you have for me?